Holla, what's up?
What's up, Anthony Hamilton? My celebrity life. Ge Holla.
Shout out to Ge Holla, reaching 1 million listeners on his podcast, My Celebrity Life.
What's up, Ge Holla? This your boy Genuine. Shout out to you.
You gotta make sure that you show up and that you stand up and you always stand on your square, 10 toes down. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Esquire, Sir Maxwell Billieon.
It's the first time I've been called a young man in a minute, so I'm taking all of that. I mean, I earned the salt and pepper, but I'll take the young man too. Absolutely. There you go. It's the seasoning. But if one more of these young Instagram girls calls me daddy, I'm gonna have to shave it off because I'm not doing that. How are you doing though? How are you
I'm
doing?
doing well, my good brother. How about you? Tell him it's daddy with an I, not a Y. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. That's right. That's right. It's with an I, not a Y. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's a very interesting time in America. It's a very interesting time politically. It's a very interesting time socially. So many opportunities that I see that most people just don't see, and we're going to talk about it. I'm excited.
Hey, I'm glad that you're here. My good brother, you know what I'm saying? Take us back to your early beginnings. Where are you from originally? Where you hail from?
I'm born and raised, and I hail from the city of Compton. Now, I'm sure most of you have no idea where that city is, and probably have never heard of it. Um, Nowadays, it's more infamous than famous. The Kendrick Lamars and the Dr. Dre's, but I'm from a different type of Compton. Those guys lied to you guys. They told you that my city was full of gangbangers and you can't walk the streets and it's trash and dirt and there's no opportunity there. And so I'm absolutely living proof that that is just a bunch of BS that's great for marketing. I'm from a black elite class in the city of Compton. My mom was president of city council. My dad was a police captain. The area that I come from in Compton, people mowed their lawns on a Saturday morning. Kids, we played in the street, played football, baseball. We went to the park and played flag and everything else. I learned how to swim in Compton. I learned how to play tennis on the same tennis courts that Venus and Serena learned how to play on. And I know that Compton has this infamous rag about it, but that's a small part of what this predominantly black city was about. And I love to be living proof of that. So yeah, born and raised in the hub city of Compton. Went to college in Los Angeles. I left college early to go pursue business internationally. I was studying international business and I was a dancer. I was actually a football player and I tore my knee. And I was a break dancer, so I shouldn't have been break dancing because my knee was torn. But I left college on an invite to go to Japan and teach hip hop, what they called hip hop dance, or what we call break dancing or street dancing. And I never looked back. I never looked back. I ended up staying in Japan for 2 years, did commercials and had billboards. And that showed me that the world was bigger than Compton, that the world was bigger than California, that the world was bigger than America, that there was something more out there. It was the very first time that I ever felt like a human being, not not just black, not a black man, but just a human. I was treated fairly. I was treated with dignity. I was treated with respect. Japan, as you probably know, everything's about honor, and you must be honorable. And I didn't know anything about honor coming from the hood. There's no honor in the hood. Even with the dignitaries that I knew and that were in my family, still honor as a community did not exist and still doesn't exist for us to this day. So I learned about honor in Japan. Not just honor thy mother and thy father, but honor thyself. You know,
Mm.
honor thyself. We never talk about this. Honoring yourself. How can you possibly honor others if you have no honor for yourself? And I mean that internal fortitude of dignity, these words, integrity, these words that no longer appear in the English language, but they ring very true to me. And I didn't see that on the street amongst the Crips and the Bloods. There was no honor amongst thieves. Thieves don't have any honor. So I learned that in Japan, and ever since then, I've been living all over the world. And I'm now in my 22nd country. I've been to more than 40. It might even be 50. I have to really sit down and count, but certainly over 45 countries I've been to, but I've lived in 22. When I say live, I don't mean Instagram live, where you go and you take pictures and then you go back. I'm talking about a year or more in a residence. I've done that in 22 different countries. And so I've been a political attaché. Um, my uncle, who was my godfather, but I called him an uncle, was lieutenant governor of California. He
Wow.
taught me the international game, and he said to me, "You are to go out into this world, get all the information you can, and bring it back to our community." When I came back to America, there was no community to bring it back to. So that's the goal now, is just to bring it back to us, those of us who want the information, those of us who want global success, those of us who want to be treated human,
Mm.
those of us who are tired of being treated by our political party as Black,
Mm.
and those of us who want successful marriages, those of us who want to be excellent, not just Black excellence. I don't even know what that is. Just be excellent. I've got information for you, and so that's where I'm from. That's how I learned, and now I'm back to turn it up. So county commissioner is a big deal. I didn't want anything to do with politics. Absolutely nothing. I was in the music business. I had a joint venture deal with Sony. I ran artist development at Capitol Records. I had a management company. I was responsible for over 150 million records in sales. And I discovered such amazing talent. I was in the music business. My family was in politics. I didn't want anything to do with it. And then I had a son, and I was living in Morocco at the time. I was consulting this major hotel company that was going out of America into Morocco. And my uncle was retired, asked me to come back. He wasn't doing well, and he said, "You need to go into the family business because you're making money, you're successful, but what good does all that money do if you have no power?"
Mm.
And it registered with me. And then he died, and I had a son. And when I had my son in South America, and I had to fill out all these documents that I would take care of my son until he was 18, that I was responsible for him. And when you are an American born abroad, that's the only way that your child can get their citizenship, is if the man, this is everywhere, if the man signs the born abroad document. There's no
Oh.
signature line for the woman. It doesn't even exist. Only for the man. And so I realized that if I was going to be responsible for him, that meant not just financially, that meant environmentally, not just environmentally and financially, but socially. It
Mm.
meant education. And so when I looked at my nation and how great it's supposed to be, I realized that it had never been great. That America's never been great. How can you be a great country when you enslave people and oppress people? What's great about that? How can you be a great country when you have over 200,000 in homeless people in your population? How can you be great when you have the separation of two parties and when you only have a two-party system? When has America ever been great? And so that encouraged me to get into, as my uncle said, the family business, which is politics. And so I stepped to a longtime associate of mine who was also former congresswoman, and she gave me the endorsement. And we went out and we became the fourth district, which is a predominantly Caucasian area. You
Mm.
know, you have Los Angeles, the city, and then you have Los Angeles, the county. And the county is the largest county, over 12 million people. So if you can imagine, like Haiti and the Dominican Republic put together, that's Los Angeles.
Oh.
So not over the city, I was over the county. And quality and productivity was my expertise. And so ensuring that this great county was living up to the quality and the productivity that you would expect from a country, because Los Angeles County is a country.
Okay.
And so I did it. I did it for 2 terms, and then I got full custody of my son. I was in a custody battle. My kids were kidnapped and stuck in Chile,
Wow.
stuck in South America. And so for me, it was the United States versus Chile in this lawsuit. And finally, I prevailed and I got my son. I brought him to America. And I remember when my son first touched down in Los Angeles, he looked at LA and he said, "Dad, this is ghetto." He was 8. And he come from South America. So for him to have that perspective, it registered with me. It says, "Son, we got to make a change. We got to change it. It's up to us to change it." And so that's what we set out to do. So I stepped down so I could focus on my son, focused on, I hadn't seen him in 3 years. They were, again, my kids were kidnapped, my son and my daughter. I hadn't seen them in 3 years.
Wow.
And so when I got custody of him, it was full, full-fledged, straight ahead. Let's focus on fatherhood and being the best father. We have a lot of dads in
Yeah.
Black skin, but we have very few fathers. So I focused on being a father. And that also meant politics, right? I say the 3 Ps: personal, professional, and political. And we've done well professionally, especially Generation X. We've done well. Even in the Black community, we've done well. Personally, we've done well. Before, if you were over 40 years old and you were in the club, you were the old man in the club. And you were like, ugh, what's he doing in here? Now you see 50-year-olds. 50 Cent can be in the club. Snoop Dogg can be in the club now. These are 50-year-old men. They could be in the club popping bottles, and they're the cool guy in the club, right? So we've done well, but politically, we've done nothing. We don't have that 3rd P, which is power. The 3rd P is that power. We don't have any power. We have money. African Americans consume more than any other group per capita in the nation's history. But it comes with no power. We own more pairs of Nike than we own politicians. That should not be. You have to own, I'm a politician. You have to own politicians. Whoever spends the money on their political campaign owns the power behind the politician.
Right.
And so that's what we're supposed to be doing. Stop buying Nikes. What are you buying Nikes for? How many pair of Nikes do you need? $200 for a pair of sneakers. Put that $200 into your local city council person, your local commissioner, your local alderman. And now you have a voice. Do that times 10. Get 10 of your friends to do the same thing, 20 of them to do the same thing. Now you guys have a voice. That politician owes you. And he or she will have to deliver on that. We have no choice. If we don't deliver on it, guess what? We have no money. Without money, you can't run a campaign. Without a campaign, you can't be in office. So Black people, especially Black men, because we are the power base of this nation, don't believe they lied to you. They lied to you. No disrespect to our sisters. I love Black women to death, but they are not the power base. The Black homes and the Black church is still led by the Black man. Black fathers, where we have Black fathers in the home, they lead, they out earn, they spend more time with children than any other group in America. Black men are still the power base. And so they lied to you to keep you at bay. So you got your head down and your shoulders slumped over. The truth of the matter is, you have always been and will always be the power base of the family. So you got to get power. And that's what we're about to do. We're about to get, it's what we're about to do in 2028. This nation is absolutely not expecting nor ready for it. But they're going to have to get ready because we're coming. We're coming. We are coming. We're overdone with the political nonsense of the Democratic Party. 60% of African American men, when polled, that are registered to the Dems, say that they now consider themselves independent. But we're not gonna go over to the Republicans because they don't know how to treat us either. So what do? Well, I'm a deal maker. You make a deal. So we're about to start making deals. And you're gonna see this. Follow me on Instagram at Maxwell Billieon on Instagram, and I'm gonna start talking to you and to all of your members, all of your followers, all of your listeners about this deal that we're about to do, because we have to make deals in America in order to have power. Every good deal is where both sides walk away with something that they need, not necessarily something that they want. But what do we get that we need? We had Barack Obama in office for 8 years. What did we get? We've been with the Democratic Party since the people always love to say it was in the 1960s. No, black women started pushing black men to leave the Republican side and go over to the left during the Depression. That's when it started. That's when we first started showing up in other numbers. It just became our stance, as you said, 10 toes down in the concrete in the 1960s around Martin Luther King, because he led sort of us really into that direction. But we were already tiptoeing in the pond of that side of the fence. But what have they given us? Have we not earned? What have we gotten in response? Where's our residual payment? Assets and liabilities. Have we been a liability to the Democratic Party, or have we been an asset? Yet and still we have nothing. So it's time to make a deal. Either you give us A, B, and C, which is power, or we're out of here. Republicans, same thing. Either you give us A, B, and C, or we're out of here. And our vote, that 60% that we were talking about, will be independent. And you cannot win a race without African-American men. Don't believe me? Just look at the race that we just had with Donald Trump and Kamala. We didn't vote for her. Those of us that didn't vote for her, 28 to 33% they measure, didn't vote for her. And look, 98% of African-American women voted for Kamala. So if sisters could win the race, what happened? Tell me, I'll wait. I got time. 98%, only 2% didn't vote for her. So if sisters could win the race for you, what happened, Kamala? What happened, Dimps? Because that's not how this works. If you don't get the black male vote, you can't win. You cannot win. And so that's the deal. You want our vote? Collectively, this is what we're saying. This is what we need. These are the things that we want. And you can either, what did they say in the movie? You can either get down and lay down. Power is never given. It's only taken.
Right.
They're not going to give us that power. We have to take it.
Right.
So that's where we're going in 28. This is our planning time. We're in deep planning. Us moderates, those of us that are moderates, most African-American men are not liberals. Do not believe the hype. That is just not the case. Most African-American men are moderates. Sometimes we're conservative. Sometimes we're liberal. We're in the middle where the meat is. When you eat the burger, you got the bun but the meat is in the middle. Whoa. That's us. We're the meat. And then in the 80s, there was this commercial that said, "Where's the beef?" We're the beef. The beef is back, ladies and gentlemen. The beef is back. So it's an exciting time. I don't see it being negative the way that everybody else does. I think that Donald Trump is fantastic for America. I didn't say he's doing fantastic things. I said that he's fantastic for America, because America only learns the hard way. We had a revolution. We didn't have to have a revolution. We had the emancipation. We didn't have to do that. We could have done it the easy way. They could have cut a deal for slavery. They wanted to revolt. They wanted to have war. They wanted to have dead bodies on the field. That's the way we learned. Every war, we could have done it a different way. But we choose the hard way every time. So since America got a hard head makes a very soft behind. So it's time to stop tapping that behind. America wants to learn the hard way. That's what Donald Trump is giving you. He's giving you the hard way. You can learn the easy way. We're right here, baby. We got what you need. African-American men got what you need. We have the strong backs. We have the labor force. We have the intellect. We got what you need. We have the know-how, the do-how. We have all of those things. You want to learn the hard way? Donald Trump is giving you the hard way. You can keep going that way. How's that working out for you, black women? They said you didn't need African-American men. How's it working out? Didn't they just cut EBT? Yeah, they did. How's that working out? They gave you the black woman to run for president. How's that working out? How's it working out being on your own island without African-American men? America, how's that working out for you? Being without African-American men. How's that working out for you? It's not working too well. Now imagine if African-American men stop playing basketball, stop running touchdowns. What entertainment would you have? What, you think we're just entertainment? How's it working out only having there? No, you now we belong behind these desks. We have to be in these offices. And we've come to demand that. We've come to demand our rightful place that we have earned this entitlement. I feel entitled. I don't know about you, but I feel entitled to America. I feel entitled. America owes us a check. And I'm not talking about 40 acres and a mule. I'm talking about America owes us a check. America owes us respect, and we must come to collect it. And so that's what we've done. I'm not talking about violence and, you know, um, invading the Capitol. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about intellectual participation in the environment that we created, which is now known as the United States of America. We created this place. It was built on our backs. Now it's time that we thrive on the back of America. So collectively, let's be clear. There is no such thing as a Black community. We've had Black community a couple of times because it behooved us to come together. Coming out of slavery, of course, we had to, because we couldn't legally be anyplace else. We couldn't live amongst whites, so we had to live amongst one another, right? And then the civil rights movement came, and we had to again be amongst one another. But short of that, we are no different than any other group on the face of this planet. The Japanese don't mess with the Koreans don't mess with the Chinese don't mess with the Japanese. The Irish don't mess with the Brits don't mess with the Portuguese don't mess with the Italians don't mess with the Spaniards, and the Spaniards don't mess with the Irish. Let's go over to the other continent. Botswana don't mess with Nigeria don't mess with Eritrea definitely don't mess with Ethiopia, and Ethiopia don't got anything to do with the Ivory Coast. Shall I continue? Now I just named Asia, I just named Europe, I just named Africa. We can continue. So the truth of the matter is, people, generally speaking, do not collectivize unless they have some common goal. Excuse me. War brings people together. Well, we have already done that. Is that what we want? I certainly don't want a war. I do not want to get my Rolex. I like my Tom Fords. I'm not trying to get them dirty. I'm not trying to rumble with you. I'm not trying to. That's over. We do it here. We work smarter, not harder. So that plan looks like us understanding that we can't do it alone. That's the first step. Black people, you cannot do it without other groups. Stop saying we have to sit together and stick together. This is not we shall overcome, where we all ride the bus or boycott Coca-Cola and walk to work. We did that. How is that working out? No, we have to work together with other groups. Everybody's sick of this America. Everybody is sick of this nonsense. We are tired of this. And so that's what it looks like. It looks like us coming together with other groups: Pacific Islanders, East Asians, East Indians, West Indians, Europeans, other African groups that do not consider themselves Black, because there's something for us all to benefit. There's something for us all to benefit in the new America. They don't want that, but we can achieve it. And so that's the first part. What does it take to do that? It takes money. But we have money. We have money. We have money in the quote Black community. African American men have money. I'm not saying every Black man has a mansion and a swimming pool. I'm saying that we spend money so we know we have money. We spend money on Nikes all the time, but we don't even own Nike stock.
Right.
Brothers support Nike than any other group in America and don't own Nike stock. So we have to support ourselves, and the way that we support ourselves is with money, financially. The way that we join other groups is with money. So that is what we're putting together. I have a new 501c4. For those of you who don't know what a 501c4 is, it's similar to a 501c3, which is a nonprofit, but it is specifically geared toward lobbying in politics. And it's called X. It's called X. Yes, somewhat in the vein of Malcolm X. Yes, somewhat in the vein of Generation X. It's called X because all of us are ex-members of this way of thinking. We're ex-members of these societies. We're ex-members of these communities. We are ex-members of these political parties. So that's why it's called X. And in doing that, we have X amount of dollars, pun intended. We have X amount of dollars that we can spend to put our group together so that we can then go out and make the demands that we need. And so that's what we're doing now is we're putting the final touches on X. This is not a Dr. Umar money hustle. I'm not going to claim I'm building a school and never put together a school. Um, X has already done 6 figures, and we are using that 6 figures to now do 7 figures. I didn't come to you guys that are listening yet because I wanted to put my money where my mouth is and make sure that when I come knocking on your door through text message, that you understand we are self-sufficient. And, and that's what we do next. So that's what the plan looks like, is putting money together. Look, the Koch brothers used to be Democrats. Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. These people left the party. Ronald Reagan was a Democrat. These people left the party because the party didn't want to play ball. Rich people want better taxes. How many black men want better taxes? You end up getting 20, somewhere between, depending on the state you live in, between your federal and state taxes, property tax, you end up double and triple tax and end up paying somewhere between 28 to 40% of your income. That means if you work Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you're working for the government. You're working to pay tax. You only get money for Tuesday for Thursday and Friday. Let me say that math again. If you work in this America, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you work for the government. You only get paid for Thursday and Friday. How can you survive like that? How can you live like this? And they expect us to continue doing it. Why? Why would we continue doing it? That's the definition of insane. And we've proven that we're anything but insane. We are intellectual. So that's what we have to do now. We have to stop buying Nikes. I'm not saying boycott Nike. You can wear Nikes if you want to. But why do you need 3,500 pairs of these shoes? You got 3,500 pairs of Nikes, but you don't got $3,500 in the bank. I said it. I said it. You spend $200 on what you put on your feet, but you don't own 200 square feet. You don't even own 200 square feet. Most of you live in an apartment. So we have to change the mindset. I'm not talking about this in the Farrakhan way or even in the Martin or Malcolm way. I'm not talking about we shall overcome and we all have to stick together and be one gigantic Negro. No, no. We can think differently, but we all must come to terms with the fact that black, white, brown, yellow, red, 7 out of 10 things most of us agree on. It's the other 3 that separates us. Well, they emphasize those other 3. They emphasize them. Whether you're gay or straight, religion, and money. They emphasize those other 3. I'm saying we don't need to emphasize those. We can focus on the 7 that we agree on. How many of us don't want great education for our kids? Who's raising their hand to that? How many of us don't want to end a pipeline to prison for little kids of color? How many of us don't want a better food in our grocery stores? How many of us don't want sky-high, ridiculous real estate properties of cost? How many of us don't want insane taxes? How many of us don't want these things? How many of us don't want to be able to support our women and our children? How many of us don't want to be able to have a single working household where you can support your wife and your children? How many of us, I just named 7, 8 things. How many of us don't want these things? The truth is that we do want these things, and these are the things that bind us. So that's what the plan looks like. We're going to focus on these things. We're going to put our money where our mouth is, first and foremost. Taking money out of our tennis shoe closet.
Yeah.
Taking money out of that. Many of us spend $200 on a pair of jeans. We can certainly spend $200 on political power. And when you multiply that, just think of a county like Los Angeles where you got upwards of 12 million people. Just do the math. More than half of those people are adults. Just do the math. If you took $2 a person, what if it's 200 a person? That's just LA.
Yeah.
What about Chicago? What about DC? What about Atlanta? What about Chattanooga? These are just cities. I'm naming cities. I'm not naming whole states.
Okay.
And we can keep going, right? We can keep going across 50 great states. And you see that we have the money to get the power that we need in this America. So that's where we start. We start with money. We start investing into politics instead of into sneakers.